What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for our Money in the Bank review for May 10th, 2020. This, of course, was billed as the most unique Money in the Bank ladder match we will ever see. They got that right. They needed to climb the corporate ladder, go to the top of Titan Towers to get the Money in the Bank briefcase. Did these 12 men and women live up to the hype of this match? Or did it fall flat and be a total bore fest? I will say the men's winner has got to be the biggest shock in Money in the Bank history on who won it. We'll talk about that later. But of course, we have matches that go before this. On the pre-show, we had Cesaro versus Jeff Hardy. Why this match was happening? Well, of course, as we know, for the last few weeks, they've been doing a Jeff Hardy reunion. Jeff Hardy, thank you for coming back to WWE, and thank you for sticking with us. Video package of the rise, the fall, the comeback, and the redemption. The comeback and the redemption. So he's starting the feud with Sheamus. So they give you Cesaro because they explain that he's facing Cesaro because even though they're not the bar anymore, Jeff Hardy Cesaro and Sheamus still are good friends, and Cesaro is here to clean up the trash, as in Jeff Hardy. This was a decent match, nothing really to go into. I mean, they were given a lot of time, more than most pre-show matches usually get. But Jeff Hardy hits a swanton, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. The biggest thing about Jeff Hardy coming back is that he has slowed down immensely. Jeff Hardy, of course, this is not like Jeff Hardy 10 years ago is still fast and flying and everything. 5 years ago, still, like he's still able to do big new stunts and everything, and not be as slow as he is now. He looks slow and as if he shouldn't even be in wrestling anymore. So we get to the main card. Fatal 4-way tag team match opens the main card. It's the New Day, The Miz and Morrison, the Lucha House Party, and the Forgotten Sons. How did we get here? As we know, Miz and Morrison lost the tag team titles in a singles triple threat match when Big E pinned the Miz in a match where it was the New Day versus it was one member of the New Day, one member of the Usos, one member of the Miz and Morrison team that did not participate at WrestleMania. So the week after the New Day won the tag team titles, they came back, they celebrated. Miz and Morrison complained that this match, that they didn't keep the tag team titles. The Forgotten Sons came up from NXT. The Lucha House Party got involved. They wanted a tag team title shot. Lucha House Party beat the Miz and Morrison. Forgotten Sons beat the New Day. And that's where we got to this Fatal 4-way ladder match. Now, the one thing I have to say about these Fatal 4-way and triple threat ladder tag team matches in WWE, they need to stop this 2 people in the ring at the same time bullshit and go with the way it should be, where each member of a team is in the match and you only tag in your partner. It's really stupid to keep doing it this way. AEW showed you a couple months back when they did one of these matches, and it was I think it was a Fatal 4-way, a triple threat, and it was one member of each team was in the ring. It made for a much smoother and much better match. Not much happened until Grand Metalik hits a Spanish fly on John Morrison off the top rope to the outside, taking everyone else. Craziness between all 4 teams, too much to call. Double stomp powerbomb by the New Day gets a 2 count. Miz and Morrison look to have things won later on. Starship Pain to, I believe it was Big E, or it was one of the members of the New Day. Lucha House Party stopped that. Then it looks like the Lucha House Party have the win, but the Sons break that up. Jackson Ryker gets involved. Referee says, you know what, you're out of here, get to the back, which it is a Fatal 4-way tag team match, so there was no disqualification, so the referee shouldn't be calling it saying, hey, get to the back, but I understand what he's trying to do. All in all, in the end, we get a big ending to seal the deal, hitting, I believe, one of the Lucha House Party members, Grand Metalik, if I'm correct. New Day retained the tag team titles. So, not much happened in this match. It was an okay match, but this is the problem what WWE did on Friday. On Friday, in their infinite knowledge, WWE decided we're going to take the New Day and the Lucha House Party, put them on one team to take on the Miz and Morrison, the team of Miz and Morrison and the Forgotten Sons in an 8-man tag match. That gives away half of your pay-per-view match. Why did they continue to do this? They do it when you'll have, like, say, Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman team up to take on Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt in a tag team match, because those two matches, they have to combine them to give you something to watch. That's what they do, and it just takes away from the match you're supposed to see at the pay-per-view. They have this problem with less is more. Charlie Caruso is backstage with Drew McIntyre, and she brings up the fact that at WrestleMania he beat a former WWE, Universal, UFC, and former NCAA wrestling champion. I'm like, why are we getting Brock Lesnar's accolades from Charlie Caruso? Come on. Goes over the match and just hypes up the match for later in the night, and then that was that. Then we go to the ring, and R-Truth comes out, and he has hell of an imagination because he's doing his rap, and after the rap, he plays up to if the crowd was actually there, playing up as if he's in a stadium full of hundreds of thousands of people. MVP comes out, was supposed to have this match, and I'm thinking, you had Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. You gave them a good bit of time, probably 15 to 20 minutes, it felt like, on the pre-show. That match warranted being on pay-per-view if you wanted to give these two a hell of a match. Why would you give me MVP versus R-Truth on this pay-per-view? Why? But it turns out it wasn't MVP versus R-Truth. MVP's out there arguing with R-Truth about R-Truth trying to help him show him about being a baller and whatnot. Out comes Bobby Lashley. He says, MVP, no, take the night off. I got this. MVP's like, that's what's up. He leaves. Truth goes to leave. Bobby Lashley stops him and is like, you ain't going nowhere, son. Now, R-Truth just waxes Bobby Lashley across the face when he's like tries to turn and whacks him across the face. Like, there's this whole world to go around, and that pisses Bobby Lashley off. He beats the hell out of R-Truth. R-Truth might get a couple moves in here and there. Big spear, 1, 2, 3. Bobby Lashley is your winner. Did this match need to happen? No. This was Monday Night Raw filler type of match at its finest. Then we get to the rest of the pay-per-view. Tamina and Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title. Before we get to the match, Kayla Braxton is backstage. She asks Sasha Banks, because you guys lost the match on Friday when Sasha Banks failed to stop Lacey Evans from getting involved. Now, Sasha, did Bayley blame you for that loss? Before Sasha can say anything, Bayley's like, are you kidding me? I don't blame her. I don't blame you. I see what you're trying to do here. But we got this. We have business to go take care of. Bayley walks away as the music hits, and Sasha takes a minute. She has this look on her face the cracks are starting to form in Sasha Banks to the point where she's eventually going to snap and take out Bayley, turning babyface and taking that title away from Bayley as the music as we go on. Now, the match starts off. Bayley's talking trash. She's shoving Tamina, but then Tamina chops her fast. Then a kick to the gut. Goes for a move in the corner, but Bayley jumps on Tamina's back and puts her in. Tries to get her in a sleeper. Tamina, of course, turns around and just hits her into the corner. Tamina has Bayley in the corner and just face palms her. She's talking trash to her back. Kick to Bayley, then a suplex a suplex position into a slam. Bayley rolls to the outside. Bayley drops Tamina as Tamina's talking trash. She grabs her leg and just drops her, then drags her slowly, but drags her over to the ring post and slams her leg into the ring post a few times. Then goes into the ring and kicks her a couple times. Gets back out, backs up, runs in with a charging kick to the bad leg. Bayley back in, gets a 2 count. Back to the leg. Bayley on the attack. Bayley gets another 2. Tamina fights back and splashes her in the corner, then a running knee to Bayley in the corner, super kick blocked into a knee bar, which was a knee bar attempt, but she never could get the knee bar cinched in right. Tamina is eventually able to get to the ropes. Let's see here. Bayley drags Tamina back, goes nowhere. Tamina fights back, but a knee gives out. Bayley looks to pick up Tamina into a Samoan drop of herself, which was a really stupid move. And Bayley the weight gives way. Bayley falls forward. Tamina falls on top of her. they're both down. Bayley goes to the outside. Bayley gets back onto the attack. Bayley gets a bottle of water. She's like, you know what? I'm a little parched. And Bayley, like, of course, the commentators have a bottle of water. She yanks it out, takes a couple sips. She's like, you know what? I'm feeling better, and just splashes it into Tamina's face. This sets Tamina off. She grabs Bayley. She throws her against the ropes, then clotheslines her. She throws her into the barricade. She is just a house of fire right now, pissed off. Back in the ring, she goes for a Samoa drop. That gets stopped. Big kick by Tamina. Bayley on the outside. Tamina grabs her and throws Bayley over the announce table, which will not be the last time we see that spot tonight. Tamina just starts beating the hell out of her. She's killing her left and right. Goes up top, goes for a splash, but stops while she's coming down. Tamina grabs the legs with a kick and a Samoan drop. Banks gets in the ring as if she's going to stop. Like, she gets in the ring as if when Tamina goes for the pin, she's going to come over and she's going to stop her. Well, she sees this. She backs Tamina away, and then she chases her off. And Bayley eventually gets her up. Or tries to do something. He gets her into another Samoa drop attempt. Bayley rolls her over into a crucifix. 1, 2, 3. Bayley wins the match. I'm gonna be honest here. Tamina, she got carried by far in this match. Tamina, there's a reason Tamina hasn't done really much in WWE, because she just can't handle it. She can't hack it. Bayley did most of the heavy lifting in this match. Tamina looked good because Bayley helped her look good. After the match, Tamina immediately gets Bayley up for a Samoan drop, but Banks finally comes in, clips her, knee to the face, yells at her, takes the title, like, where is it? Grabs the title, hands it back to Bayley. They celebrate as we see a bunch of replays, and that was the end of the match. This was an okay match. Of course, it was mostly Bayley just picking up the load and doing everything she could to make this match what it was. And then it's at this time, it's about 1 hour done. We are at 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking, holy shit. It's 9, by the time when I'm recording this, it's 9:46. This pay-per-view has been over for about 15 minutes. Wow, it was a short pay-per-view tonight. But we get to the Universal title match, and I'm like, holy shit, we only have one more title match, and that would be Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. They could have added one more match, or even 2 more matches if they wanted to. I'm really surprised they got away with only doing this little bit of matches. Anyway, Strowman versus Wyatt. This has been a feud in the making, for the fact that Bray Wyatt was the one who introduced Braun Strowman to the WWE Universe all the way back, what was it, 2015? The early 2016? When the dude was green, he had his hair growing on all the sides, he wore the Black Sheep's mask. The whole story of this is Bray Wyatt wants to try and get control back over Braun Strowman. He wants to kick take the title off the Black Sheep and get it and make him his follower again. Bray Wyatt, from the beginning, tries to walk up to Braun and talk, and Braun just takes him and shoves him back in the ring and into the corner. It's like, I told you, time for talking is over. Bray Wyatt is just like smiling and laughing in the corner. Strowman gets the best of Wyatt, but Wyatt doesn't stay down. He's just laughing and smiling. Braun gets shoved into the announce table a little bit later. Huskus the Pig Boy just shows up in the corner, just cheering on Bray Wyatt. It's like, you can do it, Bray, you can do it. So Bray Wyatt gets his attacks in. He hits a Sister Abigail. Looks like that might be it. 1, 2, kick out. Strowman gets the mask as we get towards the end of this match. He has the mask. He just comes back up outside, and Bray Wyatt is losing his mind. It's like, I told him, Braun. I told him we could do it. And Braun gets in the ring. He rips the shirt off, a little bit that's left. He drops to his knees in front of Bray. Bray is continually losing his mind, thinking he's got this monster back under control. The puppets are out there as Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman both stand up and they hug. They're like, oh, he's home, Braun Strowman is home. All the puppets are just enjoying what's going on. And then, as Bray Wyatt's about to do something, Braun pushes his hand out and pushes him back, pulls the mask off, and drops it. I was hoping he was going to take the mask and rip it in front of Bray Wyatt's face, just to signify that that's over with. Bray's like, "What are you doing, Braun? What are you doing?" And then he stomps on the mask. Bray Wyatt doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He ends up eating a running power slam. 1, 2, 3, match is over. I'm a little divided on this one. I don't know if Bray Wyatt should have lost so decisively. I think more than one power slam should have done it. The fact that I know it is only Bray Wyatt, it's not Fiend. And obviously, with after this, Braun Strowman gets the title. He talks trash to Bray Wyatt. He walks away, and we pan back to Bray Wyatt. And as we're looking at Bray, we see flashes of the Fiend. This feud is far from over. Bray Wyatt might have lost, but the Fiend will see to it that he will get that title back. Bray couldn't do it. The Fiend will. And right before we get to the WWE Championship match, we see the Hacker again, telling us, "People want to know who I am, and it is I'm everywhere. I see everything." And he turns around, pushes the button. The camera angle, the quality of the video changes to what it looked like. It felt like a live feed, and we pan up and see like at least a dozen screens of different things from like Kofi and Xavier Woods celebrating the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles when Big E won the titles. You see Ride Along on one of these. You see all these other things that are happening. And honestly, I don't have a fucking clue who this is. It's probably Mustafa Ali. It's probably Chad Gable. One of those two. I don't know where it's leading to. As I said before, what happens after? What happens after this is done? Only time will tell, and that was another thing for the Hackers. Now, before we get into the main event, I was looking on WWE's list of pay-per-views, what's going to be next. They didn't have a pay-per-view scheduled for June yet. But they did announce tonight that in 5 weeks, on June 14th, the return of Backlash. We have not seen Backlash there was no Backlash last year. They got rid of Backlash halfway, right before WrestleMania. They canceled Backlash and they got rid of Backlash for, I think, a Saudi Arabian show. But it's going to be coming back. Backlash will be our next pay-per-view. Then we're going to go into Extreme Rules and then into Survivor Series. Into SummerSlam. Hopefully by the time we get to Backlash, there'll be some fans in this damn town, this crowd. There was no one again. And honestly, this shit fucking sucks. This show, WWE and Vince McMahon does not want to do crowds. Why? Because AEW did it first. And when AEW did it first, it takes it off the table for WWE. They didn't want, Vince McMahon had to be drugged, kicking and screaming and fighting and throwing tantrums to change the camera angle from where it usually is to the hard cam, to where the hard camera is now, facing Titantron. They took that from AEW because AEW showed you how to do it. Fast forward to now, and AEW has crowds. It might be small and minuscule, but it makes a fucking difference. This show would have felt a lot better. It was an okay show. None of the matches outside of Bayley versus Tamina dragged, but this show would have felt a lot better up until we had the ladder matches. If we would have had a little bit of a crowd, I'm just saying. Then we get to Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Seth Rollins has ditched Burn It Down and has more holy music. I'm not gonna say it there and shit on it. I think it's a good thing, especially if he wants to do this Monday Night Messiah gimmick. The Burn It Down music just didn't make any sense anymore. Maybe it's just one thing. Maybe it was just for Money in the Bank. We'll find out tomorrow. But it is what it is, and it was actually pretty good, and it fit the character. This was a hell of a match. Both of these guys can go out there and give you a hell of a match. Both of them are great in the ring, and they showed you tonight that they can put guys on their back and they can run with this. Unfortunately, this did have a clean finish, and unfortunately, I think this is the end of this feud for this feud, which I'll talk about who looks like will be the next person to feud with Drew McIntyre here in a bit, but let's get through the match. They lock up. and Seth leaves the ring. I'm sorry, locks up. Drew off the ropes, levels to Seth. Seth heads out. Back inside, he tries to work over Drew's wrist. They trade some wrist locks. Drew with some shoulder blocks sends him back to the outside. Drew says, "You know what? Take your time. I'm enjoying every second of this. Just go ahead. Take your time. I can do this all night." Back to the lockup with Seth has Drew in the corner. Seth goes for the over-under, but Drew doesn't bite. Huge chop to Seth. And with no crowd, see, chops like that, with no crowd, you can hear them a lot more, and it just like, ugh. I've also noticed something on these shows that the stars or the chops and stuff, like, they show a lot more in WWE now than they ever have before. Like, I don't know if it's the technology they're using or something, but like, you'll see bumps and bruises more than you would before. Seth gets Ric Flair in the corner, followed by a chop for a 2 count. Seth gets out of a toss, then kicks Drew to the knee. And as Seth does, when he gets somebody's knee injured, he goes right on the attack. Suicide dive by Seth to Drew on the outside, takes him out. Back inside, Seth works on the leg. Drew kicks him off, but Seth with a sling blade gets a 1 count. Seth then gets a single leg crab. Drew is trying to get to the ropes, trying to find a way to get to the ropes, and Seth turns it into an STF. Drew continues to try and drag, but then Seth turns it into a crossface. Haven't seen that combination in a while. But Drew eventually gets to the ropes. Another dive to the outside takes Drew out again as he was outside. Seth hits a running knee to Drew on the outside of the apron. Seth then hits a jumping knee from the timekeeper's area as he is just teeing off on Drew McIntyre now, saying, "This isn't about you. This is about me. This is my destiny, my burden, my purpose." Over and over and over as he is taking out Drew McIntyre. Seth cleans off the announce table, then another knee strike off the announce table. He talks trash as Drew goes for another Drew goes for another dive. Catches Seth, gets caught, and then just like earlier in the show, Drew throws him over the announce table because we can't do one spot a night like that. Seth then seen that one too many times. Drew then to the belly-to-belly toss again to Seth over and over again. Diving forearm takes down Seth. Spinebuster by Drew gets a 2 count. Then he goes for the future shock. Seth blocks that back on the knee. Seth kick to the face for a 2 count. Seth goes to the outside, gets a chair. Gets the chair. Brings it up to the apron. Referee says, "Don't you bring that in the chair and don't you use it. Or bring it into the ring and don't you use it." Then Rollins throws the chair, goes for the stomp, but gets stopped. Drew hits the Glasgow kiss, which I fucking hate. There are so many times that Drew McIntyre is going to be able to do that before it's one too many. Rollins goes for the stomp, Glasgow kiss. Rollins hits a suplex into the Falcon Arrow a little bit later, which only gets a 2. I believe Seth has only beaten one person with that. Seth goes for the stomp, missed. Future shock DDT gets a 2 count. Drew grabs Seth and launches Seth halfway across the ring, out of the corner as Seth had him in the tree of woe. Seth was going up, and Drew pops back up, pulls Seth back, and it looked like he might do a German to the back, but Seth Rollins rotated completely and landed on his stomach. Holy shit, that was a hell of a spot. Drew McIntyre counts down. 1, 3, 2, 1. Claymore missed because didn't get hit because of a super kick. Gets a 2 count. Both men struggle to get up. They trade some shots. Seth gets nailed with the Claymore, falls backwards. His shoulders are down, but his head bounces and just comes up, and he just lays there. Seth Rollins as Drew McIntyre falls on top of him. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre retains the WWE Championship as he should have. Now, after the match, Drew gets up and says, "It wasn't your night tonight. If you want to show these guys you're a leader, then shake my hand," as he had his hand out. Seth grabs his hand, they shake, says, "Thank you, Seth," walks away as Seth is in the ring, pissed off that he couldn't get the job done and that he just shook that guy's hand. He just shook Drew McIntyre's hand. Now, you want to know who Drew McIntyre is going up against next? 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be Jinder Mahal. WWE brought Jinder Mahal back in a position where they are touting him being a former WWE champion. He came to the ring in his return match. Well, welcome the former WWE champion, Jinder Mahal. They threw a video package out there of Jinder Mahal. Why? Because they're pulling him up to become for people to believe him to be a threat for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship run. Vince McMahon cannot learn, can he? Can he? Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal is going to be a very bad match. Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, like AJ Styles, did the best he could to get even a decent match out of Jinder Mahal. Randy Orton couldn't get a fucking passable match out of Jinder Mahal. Shinsuke Nakamura could not get a passable match out of Jinder Mahal. And they really think this failure is going to go out there and give us a match worth that championship? No. Everyone knew as soon as WWE's PR put out a photo and captioned it, who would win in this dream match? Jinder Mahal or Drew McIntyre? The only two people that would be a dream match for is Jinder Mahal and Vince McMahon, and that is it. This is going to be a nightmare. Jinder Mahal in WWE Championship contendership. They have not learned. They will not learn. If Drew McIntyre loses that WWE Championship to Jinder Mahal, it'll be the dumbest thing they have done in 3 years. Since Jinder Mahal won the title last time. Then we get to the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Baron Corbin, and Otis. Now, the women started in the lobby. The men started in the gym. You know where the old Icro Pro commercials used to be when Vince McMahon was training to face Steve Austin and all those things they did in the gym. They happened at WWE's Titan Towers because they have a gym in there. So even though they said that everyone was going to start in the lobby, only the women did. They did it one. They had their entrances 2 at a time, 1 for Raw, 1 for SmackDown. They went 2 for the women, 2 for the men, 2 for the women, 2 for the men, 2 for the women, 2 for the men. They got all the way down to everyone but Asuka for the women because Asuka didn't show up for whatever reason. Then we get the men ones, and then we see Asuka. We hear Asuka yelling, screaming, and Shayna them look up, and Asuka was on the second floor, ready to jump down. As soon as the bell rang, which I don't know what the fucking bell would be for them to ring, she dove on everybody, and then she got into an elevator while everyone else was sitting there trying to fight to get in. She rode up, not all the way. I guess elevators don't go all the way to the final floor in Titan Tower. But she rode up, and it just got craziness from there. Let's see. The men fight all over the gym. Corbin breaks the mirror, and he just looked at that mirror like, holy fuck, did I just get fired? And honestly, that was one of the only few things that actually got broken in this match. Rey Mysterio, and we fight for a little bit here, and Otis takes a dumbbell set or a weight bar with some weights on it and puts it over AJ Styles, so AJ Styles is out of the match for the next few minutes. They run past the bathroom. Rey Mysterio stops at the bathroom as he hears somebody coming out of the bathroom, and it's Brother Love. Bruce Prichard, dressed as Brother Love, he goes, "I love you," puts his jacket on, Rey Mysterio goes, and runs away. So, there was a couple cameos in this show. Now, the scary thing I think would have happened in this thing is that Otis, Corbin, Aleister Black, and Daniel Bryan all were brawling near the elevators. Corbin's trying to get the elevator doors open. They're fighting, you hear the ding, and all 4 men get into the elevator. Holy shit, because of all that mass in there, I'm sure that whoever does the maintenance on those elevators had to have been sweating some balls, because holy shit, that could have broke that had to be a lot of mass in there. Otis alone was a lot of mass in there. Now, Asuka and we get to where Asuka's and the men's elevators both stop. Everybody's brawling except the women. And the men are brawling, the women are looking around. It's like, what the hell do? We don't need to touch these guys. And Asuka sees all this going on. She hightails it out of the way. So Corbin gets tied up into, because there is a mesh gate, or chain link fence with some rope in front of it. Corbin gets stuck in those ropes, and Daniel Bryan's kicking him. Otis is going, yes, 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 every time, until Daniel Bryan's like, wait a minute, I gotta take this guy on too. He kicks Otis in the stomach, and he starts doing the yes kicks to him, and then he hightails it off. Now, we get into the Money in the Bank conference room, as we would find out in a little bit. And we see, before that, Dana Brooke's like, you gonna tell me where that briefcase is? And they're all fighting. It's Dana Brooke, Carmella, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. They all fight into the conference room, and they're all down except for Dana Brooke. She looks up and sees a Money in the Bank briefcase with actual money in it. Gets up there, grabs it, and is like, yes, I won the match. Oh my god, I did it. Stephanie walks by and says, Dana, this is the Money in the Bank conference room. You guys are destroying the building. The real briefcase is up on the roof. And then she's like, could you clean that up? Because Nia Jax is just drooling over here. And then we flash to AJ Styles looking for Rey Mysterio. And he's walking past all these doors. None of them are unlocked. And then he sees Rey Mysterio on this poster. And he's like, I'm going to find you, little Rey. And then takes his fist and punches the fucking wall. And I'm thinking to myself, AJ, that's a real good way to cause yourself to break your wrist or your hand. Way to go, AJ. That was the smartest thing to do. So he's continuing to look for him. And then we see him just freak out. They turn to see a poster of The Undertaker. As if he's seeing ghosts. Even though that wasn't The Undertaker he saw at WrestleMania. Opens another door, it flies open, there's a casket, there's smoke, there's purple lighting, you hear The Undertaker's music, and AJ, we see flashbacks of the Boneyard match of AJ. He's like, oh no, 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 he grabs the door to close it, Aleister Black kicks him, throws him into the coffin. I wish he would have actually threw him into the casket, and Aleister Black closes the door as AJ screaming, no! And that was that. And then we see Paul Heyman in catering. For some reason, Paul Heyman is sitting in Titan Towers at this time with this smorgasbord of fucking food. He's going to eat when the men and the women come from each side and they're just yelling at each other. Paul Heyman gets up and is like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is, and Dana Brooke, who I forgot to mention, after Stephanie walked away, Carmella took a poster board, a picture, and broke it over her. So she walks out with this picture still on her, runs into Paul Heyman, who, whatever he had in his hand, obviously goes over to Otis, who's sitting there. He starts just freaking out. Food fight! Grabs this plate of whatever, throws it into Paul Heyman's face. Everyone's like, they plan to everybody who has this like sick look on their face. And then everybody grabs a bunch of food and we start having ourselves a big, huge food fight. Paul Heyman has this fucking thing trying to protect his face so he doesn't get hit anymore. Nia Jax throws Dana Brooke into a fucking drink machine. Then she takes Carmella, who tries to get her, and then powerbombs her through a table. Then her and Otis have this stare down. They turn around and they walk the opposite way. Oh yeah, during this thing, I forgot to mention, I feel bad for Rey Mysterio here. This food fight thing is going on. Shayna Baszler has the Karafuda clutch on Rey Mysterio. She is choking this guy's lights out. When all of a sudden, Otis and Nia Jax come careening in and smash Rey Mysterio. I felt so bad for the man, for the guy. I'm like, oh, that had to fucking hurt. So then Otis, when we see what Otis went to, he went into the cafeteria where the actual food comes from, when we see pies, cookies, and it looks like pretzels and everything. He grabs a couple pretzels, he throws them in his mouth, he grabs a pie, he looks like he's ready to, chow down on it when Mr. People Power, John Laurinaitis, comes on his moped thing. He's smiling, has the thumbs up, and then Otis just takes the pie and smashes it in his face. So, yes, that was your next thing. Then we see the women chasing Asuka as they're killing each other. Asuka gets out to, gets away. And then Daniel Bryan, we see Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, they're brawling. They're brawling into Vince McMahon's office. And they're fighting, beating the hell out of each other, when all of a sudden we see the man himself, Vince McMahon, is sitting at his desk. Gets up, they look, they stop. He's like, "Get out!" They're about ready to leave, and AJ's like, "You know what, let's fix these chairs up." They fix everything up. They leave. We see Vince McMahon with the hand sanitizer. He puts a bunch of hand sanitizer, wipes his hands, goes back to what he was doing. AJ's out there, and he's like, you acted like such a coward in there. Daniel Bryan's like, "You're the one who told us to put the chairs back together." He said, AJ's like, "I did, didn't I?" They start to brawl. Corbin comes in with his scepter and nails Aleister Black, who came in this scene as well, nails all three of them and says, "I'm going to the roof." He heads to the roof. We get to the roof. Asuka and Nia Jax are the first two to get there. Then Lacey Evans. Dana Brooke, Shayna Baszler, and Carmella are nowhere to be found, and they are not for the rest of the women's match. It came down to Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, and Asuka. Whoa, okay, what the fuck? Shayna Baszler needed to be in this final more than anybody. Why wasn't she out there? What happened to Shayna Baszler? It feels like because when Corbin said, "I'm going to the roof," they cut out, I swear they cut out whatever the hell was left. Because they came out, but it looked like halfway up, and just went all the way up to the roof so we could see Nia and Asuka fighting. So if they had other things taped, and they had so much more time they could have used. It only ended at like 9:30. They could have had another half an hour worth of tape they could have used, but they cut it out, and honestly, they probably would have been fine. But I want to know, what happened to Shayna Baszler? Because if I'm correct, the last time we saw Shayna Baszler, the women were fighting to chase Asuka. There was nothing in that sequence that should have kept Shayna Baszler, Dana Brooke, and Carmella from making it to the top of the roof. Carmella didn't make it, but I guess Carmella being powerbombed through the table was it for her. But Shayna Baszler was fighting Lacey Evans and Nia Jax on her way up there, and then she just disappeared. Wow. But Nia gets a ladder. Nia gets a ladder. Nia Jax wouldn't be a Nia Jax match if she didn't botch something. She has Lacey Evans up for a press slam, and she can't even get a hold of her all the way, and she drops her on her shoulder. Nia Jax is the most unprofessional, careless wrestler in WWE history. I've never seen somebody be so careless as Nia Jax. I'm not the biggest Lacey Evans fan. I don't think anyone else is. I don't think anyone really is. But I don't want to see somebody getting dropped on their legit shoulder because some dumb bitch can't fucking do her fucking moves right. She gets the ladder and tries to get up it, but Asuka stops her and then loads her. She sends her into the ladder. Evans goes up now. Asuka stops that. Asuka drops the ladder onto Nia's head, which obviously was a that's for Kyrie's moment. Evans then takes Asuka as she's climbing and grabs her head and starts beating her on the top of the ladder. Evans climbs up, but Asuka stops her. Evans and Asuka fighting to get to the top. Nia gets up, and Evans gets knocked off, and she falls right onto Nia. They are done. Obviously, you know who's winning from here. Asuka is climbing up one way. Baron Corbin for the men comes up. He's climbing up the other. They're like, Corbin's trying to get his ladder. He's like, no. Asuka with a paintbrush across the face, kick to the head. Corbin falls and bails out of the ring. Asuka climbs up and wins the Money in the Bank for the women. The women are done. It's over with. Then Asuka is your winner. Did I see that coming? No. Am I mad about it? No. Well, Asuka, it came down to either Asuka or Shayna Baszler. The Raw side was going to win the women's Money in the Bank, even before WWE decided to spoil that, hey, Becky's going to confront the winner of the women's Money in the Bank tomorrow. Now, when does that go for Shayna? I don't have a clue. Shayna could have been the one to win it. Hell, any of the women in the Raw could have won it. It would have fit them perfectly. Same thing with Lacey Evans, I think, on SmackDown. That's about it. Carmella didn't need it. Dana Brooke wasn't going to win it. So Asuka winning, not a problem with that. Then Otis makes his way out. He's trying to climb up the ladder, breaks a rung. Tries another one, breaks that rung. No way. Oh, you're like, there's no fucking way Otis is going to win this match. He is here to do some kind of thing where somebody falls and he catches them and goes from there. Otis then hits the caterpillar on Corbin. Out comes Black and then Ray. He and Black fight over the ladder. Styles gets up and he's sending Black to the floor and Ray to the floor as they were both up on the ladder now. Corbin tosses Ray over the side and it didn't even feel like it fucking mattered. Then Aleister Black gets thrown over the side and these were supposed to be huge spots. Oh my god, they got thrown off Titan Tower. And it didn't even feel like it was that big of a deal. Like Ray fell over, like they threw Ray over, you didn't hear anything. You threw Aleister Black over, you hear crunch. But that was it. It's like, that was it. That was it. That was the big spot you planned for Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio to look like they get thrown off the side of the building and you don't even play up to it. Wow. That was just such a wasted spot right there. Now, Styles is climbing. Bryan is down. So is Bryan. Down to 4 men as Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black are done. They get thrown off the side. Phenomenal forearm to Otis. AJ and Corbin start climbing up. They fight for the case. This is the end of the match here. How do you think this is going to go? Daniel Bryan's done. I don't know where he's at on the floor. Otis is on the mat. Corbin and Styles are fighting over the briefcase. They're fighting. They unhook the briefcase. They both have it. Nobody has control, so this match isn't over. AJ is like, this is mine. Corbin's like, give it to me. All of a sudden, you hear whack. Corbin gets whacked in the back by Elias out of nowhere. He falls. AJ looks to have won the Money in the Bank. He fumbles the briefcase. He never had control. And it falls into Otis' hands. Otis wins the men's Money in the Bank. I don't know what the fuck that was. I just, like, Otis winning Money in the Bank. I don't know how to feel about it. Otis is a tag team guy. Otis is the guy who should be part of part of a tag team. Him and Tucker grow weight. Now, here's the thing about Otis winning Money in the Bank. I don't see him winning the WWE the Universal Championship. I don't even think he's going to get the cash in. This feels like something that is going to end up being Dolph Ziggler getting the briefcase. It just feels like they're continuing to work this whole thing between Dolph Ziggler and them. And it's not over yet, not by a long shot. I can see that Mandy Rose and Otis will take on Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler at Backlash with the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line, and that's when Mandy screws him. That's when Mandy screws him. Yeah, so the pay-per-view overall was not a bad pay-per-view at all. But it would have been great if they could have had 10 people in there making noise for the crowd for the matches that were in the Performance Center. Yes, but they didn't do that. They still want to do the empty arenas completely because they don't want to be seen as copying AEW. Here's the hint, Vince, because you know better than anybody. People copy other people all the goddamn time. Get over yourself, Vince. Get over yourself. Get some fans in there tomorrow. I don't care if it's staff members. I don't care if it's the makeup department. I don't care if it's doctors, EMT people, or whatever. Get people into this fucking crowd tomorrow. AEW is showing you why it works. WWE needs to do something about it. Backlash is their next pay-per-view. By then, restrictions could be gone and we could have as many people as we fucking want. Who the fuck knows? All I know is this show wasn't bad. It wasn't great. But yeah, I'm just, it's just like they had that big spot with, that's something that bugs me a little bit, is that they had that big spot with Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio getting quote unquote murdered because they got thrown off the side of the building. And one, because they didn't have commentators. That hurt. That spot needed commentary. That spot needed commentary, and they didn't have any. For the simple fact is, it was a cinematic match that you weren't gonna have commentary. Otis winning the Money in the Bank. I just don't want to see this go the way I think it is. I don't think Otis is going to keep the briefcase for very long. This feels like a screw job waiting to happen. Otis getting beat, and Otis losing the Money in the Bank briefcase because Mandy Rose screwed him. I'm on my Twitter account while I record this, and Aleister Black actually tweeted out a picture of a ghost, like a person wearing a ghost, a ghost, like a sheet, as if they were ghosts for Halloween. So yeah, I guess he's playing up to that, but it just feels like, I want to know what anyone thinks in the comment below. Will Otis actually get his fair shake, and will he get to cash in Money in the Bank, or is this WWE setting up Otis to get beat by Ziggler in a match where it's Otis and Mandy versus Sonya and Ziggler with the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line, and Otis will get screwed by Mandy Rose? Let me know what you thought about Bayley versus Tamina. Where does Bayley go next? How much longer can they stretch out Bayley and Sasha Banks before the implosion happens? Feels like it's going to happen soon. Is it too soon? Will it be too late? I want to know from you. Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, definitely not done. Let me know what you think about that. The tag team titles are irrelevant as fuck. Who gives a shit? And that Money in the Bank, Asuka and Otis are your winners. And I have nothing else I can really say. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you again I'll see you again tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. And what is supposed to be Edge versus Randy Orton and Becky confronting, I guess, Asuka now. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.